Hi, boys and girls. I just lost my screen. Today we're going to work on rounding numbers. So what I want you guys to be prepared to do is understand what we're doing as far as rounding our numbers. Rounding our numbers, lesson steps. First, we're going to discuss the number sense from 0 to 10 using a game board and then number line. We're then going to expand our number sense board to 100, counting by tens. We're going to practice placing the numbers between the correct tens, between 1 and 100. We're then going to identify the middle number between 20 and 30 to start preparing to round. I'm going to demonstrate how to round numbers to the tens using the ones place, and we're going to practice. And I'm going to explain an anchor chart that I provided, rounding 100 chart, and then talk about my contact information in case we need anything when I'm, during the week, we can always talk. So first thing that we're going to do, Miss Rudy did this already. This provides you with some understanding of our game board. 0 and 10 are anchors. 0 and 10 are anchors for a 0 to 10 number game board. Our middle number is 5. Okay, so we have an anchor of 0 and 10, and our middle number is 5. Understanding where your numbers are placed is really very important. So we have to make sure that we know what number comes after 5 in our number line and what numbers come before 5 in our number line. So we know when we're looking at our numbers that 4 comes before 5 and 6 comes after 5. We also know 3, for counting backwards, the lower number before 4 is 3, and then again 2, and then 1. Now, the numbers that come after 5 are 6, then 7, then 8, then 9, let's get this one ready, and then 10. So our game board's here. So Ms. Rudy had already had this up in the game board. Start out with anchor chart. Just to review again, we have our anchors on either side, our 0 and our 10. Our mid number is 5. Very important for us to know 0 to 10, anchors 5. This is the low end of the 10. This is the higher end of the 10. 1 is our first number, but that's simple when we're thinking in terms of 1 to 10. We need to think in terms of what's our middle number and what comes before the 5 and what comes after the 5 for our rounding. So 4 comes before, then 3, then 2, and then 1, 0. After 5 is 6, 7, 8, 'didn't drag. Sometimes it doesn't listen. Let's see, let's read again to drag. 8 and 9. Understanding of what's the middle number, which is our 5, very important. This is the middle number, and our anchor numbers are 0 and 10. For rounding, they're the very important spots that are on our number chart. So the next thing that we're going to do is a number line. And this is the same concept. Your 0 and your 10 are your anchors. Okay? So when we do this, our number line is just a number line. As we talked about, it's not a game board. It's a number line, but you can move these around. 0 and 10 are the anchors, and 5 is the middle number. This is the main concept that we're trying to practice and learn, and that's why we're going to talk about it over and over and over again. 5 being the middle number, and your anchors are 10 and 0 for 0 to 10. You need to know where all your numbers are placed, the numbers that are before 5 and the numbers that are after 5, because this will be helping you with your rounding. So knowing that 4 comes before 5, 3, 2, 1, 5 being your middle number on the number line. Lowest end of the tens is 0. The highest is the tens. 6, 7, 8, 9 are above 5. So what numbers are below 5? 4, 3, 2, 0. And what numbers are above 5? 6, 7, 8, 9. This will be helping us with our rounding. This is why I'll review this several times as we go through this presentation. Now we're going to move into 0 to 100 game board, and we're going to count by tens. So a little different here is the fact that your anchors are different. So your anchors are going to be more of your 0 to 100, and we're going to be counting by tens. So to do this game board, we're going to be talking about 50 being our middle number. 50 is our middle number. Look what Mrs Rudy did. See? Some fun stuff. So when we are doing this, 50 is our middle number. And what numbers come before and after? And I want to be able to get them to fit on better. So I'm going to do a little magic. Show you a little magic. So 0 and 100 are anchors. 50 is our middle number. I'm going to do a little magic with some of our numbers down here because these guys are a little large. Let's see if we can make them a little smaller so you guys can see them a little better inside of what we need them to do. There we go. Maybe we can get them to fit better. All right. So we need them to be able to fit better when we get them up there on our number lines. There we go. All right. So this really wants to see if we can remember which numbers go before 50 and which numbers go after 50. Remember, we started talking about previously our 1 to 10. 1 to 10, 1, 2, 3, 4 is below 5. 6, 7, 8, 9 is above 5. Okay? Same concept with our tens. We're only talking about putting a 0 on the back, so now we have 2-digit numbers. But we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, and we still have 6, 7, 8, 9. It's just 10, 20, 30, 40, 60, 70, 80, 90. So before 50, we have 40, we have 30, we have 20, and we have 10. Very important to know that these go in these spots. These are the numbers that fall in the tens before 50. They're lower than 50. Higher than 50 is 60, 70, 80, and 90. Then 100. So anything below 50 would be rounded to the lower 10. Anything above 50 would be rounded to the higher 10. So we need to remember that when we're working with our numbers. So this is another step to learning how to round. Our next step is going to be learning how to fit our numbers in and finding out where these numbers belong. So we're going to do a little magic again. I'm going to move these down because I had already worked on this one time. And now I'm going to fix this board a little bit. So we have our numbers just as we discussed in the previous slide. And we have our numbers 0 to 100. So now we're going to try and figure out in these darker colors down here which fit between the tens. So between the tens is 10 to 20. So what number fits between 10 and 20? What number down here would I move up to fit between 10 and 20? Well, that would be 12. So 12 fits between 10 and 20. Okay? Then you want to figure out what fits between 20 and 30. 20 and 30 would be 29. 30 and 40, what number comes between 30 and 40? So the concept of being able to fit between, when I say fit between it goes between 10 and 20. 12 fits between 10 and 20 because it doesn't go below 10 and it doesn't go higher than 20. So 12 fits there. 12 wouldn't fit between 70 and 80. It's not even in that number range. So you need to know your number sense to be able to understand where your numbers fall in the number line, even if they're not in order. So between 40 and 50, 44 would go there because 44 fits between 40 and 50. It's not below 40 and it's not above 50. Between 50 and 60, 51 would fit between 50 and 60. Between 60 and 70, 68 would fit between. 70 and 80, 75 would fit. 86 fits between 80 and 90, and 93 would fit between 93 and 100. The concept of those numbers fitting between the tens that they're appropriately lined up for. If you had a full number line between 0 and 100, your number 12 would be between 10 and 20. The number 29 would be between 29 and 30. The number 37 would be between 30 and 40, and so on. 44 would be between 40 and 50. 51 would be between 50 and 60. 68 would be between 60 and 70. 75 would be between 70 and 80. And 86 would be between 80 and 90. 93 would fit between 90 and 100. So knowing where these numbers go is a concept that you need to start building as you have more understanding of your numbers. The next thing we're going to talk about is finding that middle number between 20 and 30. So our middle number is 25. 5 is always our middle number between the tens. Our anchor number is 20, and our other anchor is 30. So we need to have our numbers in between 20 and 30. The middle number, as we discussed, is 25. It's very important to know this number. Knowing the numbers that fall below 25 and the numbers that fall above 25 is very important for rounding. We're about to get into the part of actual rounding. If I said to you, what number on this number line, say for instance, I chose 23. If I choose 23 in this number line, where would I round it if I'm rounding to the nearest 10? Would I round it to the lower 10 or to the higher 10? Well, if you know 5 is your middle number, 4 and below rounds to lower 10. 5 and above rounds to the higher 10. So 23 would round to 20. If I chose 28, where would I be rounding 28? 28 falls between 25 and 30. Higher than 5, you round to the higher 30, the higher 10, which is 30. Okay? So this is getting closer and closer to us getting ready to really round. Understanding our number sense is really important for us to be able to round. So these are our steps to rounding to the tens. Steps to rounding to the tens. Notice my color, my chosen colors. So my chosen colors here are tens, are blue, our ones are red. I have 4 and below, round to the lower 10 is in green, and orange is for 5 and above. It's going to make a lot of sense down here when we look at our colors for our samples. So steps to rounding to the tens. You're going to use your number sense that we just reviewed. We're going to round to the tens. You must use the number to the right in the ones column. So the number on the right-hand side you're going to use to round to the tens. If the ones column is 4 or below, then you're going to round to the lower 10. If the ones column is 5 or above, then you're going to round to the higher 10. So our example is 23, like we discussed on the last slide. 23 to the nearest tens. This is your 23. I color-coded it. This is your 1 spot. The 1 spot is talking to the 10 spot. The 10 spot's underlined because that's the one that you are going to be rounding to the 10 spot. So 3 is talking to the 2. If this is 3 and 3 falls in the number line below 4, 4 and below, then you're going to round to the lowest 10, which means that 23 would be rounded to 20. Okay, so 23 is rounded to 20, and that's why my arrow is aiming to 20. So 20 would be the answer to what is rounded to the lowest 10. Okay, we're going to do a couple more on the next page. So I did the same thing with the arrows. 23 is our first example. We have the arrow telling us that the ones is telling the 10 spot what to do. The underlined number that we're rounding to is underlined to the 10 spot. So 3 is telling that 2 that it's rounding to the 20. Our next number is going to be 35. Same thing. Our ones column is in red. Our tens column is in blue. Tens column is underlined. Ones column has an arrow talking to the 3. 5 is 5 and above. Then you go to the higher 10. So 5 is telling that 3 it needs to change to a 4, and it goes to the higher 10. So you're rounding 35 to 40. If I'm rounding 44 and I'm using the 10 spot, which is a 4, and it's talking to the 10 spot, which is also a 4, you're going to round, because 4 and below, you round down to the lower 10. So 44 would round to 40 when you're rounding off. 59, because 59, 9 is higher than 5. The 9 is telling the 5 to round to 60. And 68, same thing. 68 is telling the 8 is telling the 6 what to do, and the 8 is higher than 5, so you're rounding up to 70. Okay. You're going to, this is an anchor chart for hundreds. You can see it goes 0 to 100, but you can also notice this red line that divides the 5, between the 5 and the 4. 5 is your middle number, so 5 and above, you round up to these dark green. 4 and below, you round down to this darker yellow. This is an anchor chart to help you out while you're rounding and you're practicing your rounding. My contact information, Miss Rudy is available always, whenever you need me. So I have an email, klrudy@weiner.edu. I check my emails between 9 and 3:30 every day and respond within 24 hours. And I usually check it during the evening as well. So, but I will respond to you within 24 hours, if not sooner. You can also message me through Dojo for the younger group and Google Classroom for the older group. So if anyone needs me, please feel free to contact me, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on Zoom this week. So I hope everybody enjoys their week and enjoys their lessons of the week, and we will see each other on Zoom. Have a great day.